Good afternoon. I'm with State Senator Tom Holland from the 3rd District, and we want to welcome him this afternoon to get his thoughts on this past legislation. So welcome, Senator Holland.
Ted, thanks so much for having me this afternoon.
Thank you. So let's get right at it. First question I have for you, what did the legislature accomplish during the 2022 season to help families in your district?
I think there were two very significant accomplishments. The first one would obviously be the gradual elimination of the state sales tax on food. And then the second would be basically some significant reductions in residential property taxes. The state sales tax reduction on food, the governor came out of the gate, before this session back last November, so advocating for a full repeal down a state, sales tax down to zero on food and food items this July 1st. And it's too bad we weren't able to make that happen. I mean, Republicans definitely stymied that progress. As it is, it's a much more modest implementation starting January 2023. It drops 2.5 cents on January 23, and then drops, I believe, another 2 cents and 24, that's eliminated in January 2025. Given the year-end balances we had in the state general fund, we should have done that from the get-go. Make no mistake, when we talk about eliminating the state sales tax on food, that's putting on average, Ted, about another $500 a year in Kansas families' pockets. And obviously that's money that can be circulated in the community to spin on other things. So we did get the gradual elimination, but it's too bad it wasn't much more, wasn't done all one fell swoop when he could have afforded it. The second thing I want to talk about, though, is the residential property tax relief. There's a 20 mil statewide levy for schools. Right now, there's a $20,000 appraisal exemption on residential properties. That got bumped up to $40,000, and also has a COLA to actually ease that up. So from that perspective, homeowners, all homeowners receiving $45, basically cutting their residential property tax. The other thing which was passed was golden years extension to the homestead property tax rebate program. And that was a bill, Ted, that I wrote myself. I've been working on it for the past 4 years, finally got it through. But basically what it is going to provide is Kansas fixed income seniors, disabled veterans, property tax certainty on their residential homesteads. And so that'll kick in effect starting next year. And I think that's wonderful news. That has been the number one issue ever since I've been in the legislature, Ted, dating back 2003. Is people really concerned about the ever skyrocketing property taxes on their homes. And at least I think we're able to take a nice bite at the apple of helping those who are at least able to fend for themselves as they get up in their later years.
Great. Thank you so much for answering that question in such detail. Our second question, what did you all accomplish that's going to help businesses in your district?
So there would be two things, Ted, that I would point to. Number one, I will go back to, not to be a dead horse, I do think, though, that for businesses, by getting rid of the sales tax on food, obviously the 3rd district is not a border district, but what that does do is, as that gradually gets implemented over time, that is going to be more money in 3rd district pocketbooks that can be spent on other things. The other thing I do want to talk about for 3rd district that I think is very important, and was a bill that I introduced. Actually, I wrote it myself and worked with it with Senator Mark Steffen out of Reno. But basically what it was, Ted, it's a bill called the COVID-19 Retail Storefront Property Tax Relief Act. And basically this was something geared specifically to small mom and pop storefront businesses in 20 and 21 that were adversely affected. Say if the county or somebody, say a local health officer, had made an order to limit or shut down actual commercial operations, this is a bill that actually gives them some relief towards property taxes that they paid on those operational days that they were stymied. And so I think that's really good relief for those businesses that got whacked by that. Even those businesses that went out of business, they can still apply for this. So two good things that I would add to that one.
Great. Well, thank you for such detail. And the third question, given those accomplishments, looking into the future, what are the tangible results that you expect to see in your district as a result of this legislative work?
Okay, so four things I want to make my constituents very aware of that I actually introduced and passed on my own. The first one was the Golden Years property tax, the rebate extension. I've been working for that 4 years. That got done finally. The second thing, as I talked about, was the COVID-19 retail storefront program for 2 years in 2021, which allowed businesses to basically get back up to $5,000 a year for those 2 years. The third thing that I did was, and this, Ted, goes back to the EF4 tornado that came through both Douglas and Leavenworth counties and really hit poor little Linwood there in June of 2019. I basically introduced and finally got passed this year some natural disaster legislation. And this was actually originally suggested to me initially by Doug Smith, one of the Leavenworth County Commissioners. The ability, though, for the county commission to basically abate property taxes for those structures that have been destroyed by natural disasters declared by the governor. And so that's a third thing I did. And then the fourth tax-related bill that I passed is, and this was based on some inspiration from the chair, Senator Karen Tyson, by introducing and got passed legislation that gives our Kansas teachers, these would be either both public or private school teachers, basically an annual up to $250 income tax credit. And of course, they have to show receipts, but basically based upon actual expenditures of school supplies they spend in the classrooms for their kids. So those are the four things specifically that I did that I got passed this year. And so I'm going to be spending my time particularly talking to folks about, particularly our seniors, fixed income people, as well as our businesses that got hit by the COVID mask orders, to make them aware of these programs for next year.
So you said you're going to be talking with people. That leads into my fourth and final question. What will you be doing after the legislative session to continue to help your voters?
So as far as education, what's going on, I'll be putting out a really comprehensive newsletter specifically on the tax items that we've talked about here today. There are independent groups that do forums and stuff like that for the rest of the year. And, given the fact that we have a, very hotly contested gubernatorial campaign going on, I'm sure there will be forums where various groups like, Tonganoxie have the VFW halls. We've had those in Basehor before. I have done my own forums throughout areas in my district, just inviting, constituents to come in and give an update on what I've done. And I am going to get out there and do this. The COVID, unfortunately, these past, 2+ years has really, at least for me, kind of shut down those public forums. And now that hopefully we're getting over that, I very much intend to get back out there again and let them know what's going on in the legislature and what I've been fighting, advocating on their behalf for.
Great. Well, thank you for taking time this afternoon to talk with me. As I said, we'll be posting this on the Leavenworth Lansing Chamber of Commerce website, along with the other legislators' interviews. So thank you very much, sir.
Ted, I appreciate it. And I would remind the Lansing Leavenworth Chambers that I am the ranking member on Senate Assessment and Taxation Committee. Would be happy to talk about other legislation that got passed this year. I was really buoyed, though. This year, for once, Ted, we finally did some good tax policy for Kansas families. Typically, it's always been, geared towards corporate interests and things of that nature, the squeaky wheels with the lobbyists. But this year, we really did some good things for Kansas citizens. I hope we can build on that going forward.
Great. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your offer to meet live, and we'll see what we can do about that.
Ted, thank you so much. Have a super summer,
Good.
and I look forward to talking with you in the future. Take care.